Law of relativity. Why your problems are actually gifts. What if everything you've ever struggled with was actually designed to make you stronger? What if your worst moments were your greatest teachers? And in the next few minutes, you'll discover a hidden cosmic law that explains exactly why this is true. Plus, I'll reveal the ancient secret to turning your biggest challenges into your most powerful advantages. Most people think life is about avoiding pain. They see problems as bad luck. They want to escape difficulty. But what if that's completely backwards? What if the universe is actually sending you problems, not to punish you, but to give you something amazing? This isn't wishful thinking. It's a fundamental law of how reality works. Ancient wisdom and even modern science are starting to point to the same breathtaking conclusion. You're probably feeling a little skeptical right now. That's good. Stay that way. Because what I'm about to share will challenge everything you thought you knew about success, happiness, and even your own identity. It's about the law of relativity, and understanding it can fundamentally change your life. You'll learn to see your struggles not as roadblocks but as stepping stones. You'll discover that your perceived weaknesses are your hidden strengths. Think about it. When do you learn the most? Is it when everything is easy? Or is it when you're pushed to your absolute limit? Most people have no idea that their greatest potential is locked away inside their biggest challenges. They're so busy trying to avoid the storm, they miss the treasure it carries. Let's start with the story. Sarah lived in Portland, Oregon. In 2018, she lost her job. It wasn't just any job. It was her dream job. She felt completely lost. For months, she struggled to find anything comparable. She felt like a failure. She started withdrawing from friends. Her anxiety was through the roof. She told me later, "I thought my life was over." She was stuck in a cycle of despair. Then, something shifted. She remembered a philosophy she'd read about. That challenges are opportunities. It sounded cliché, but she was desperate. She started looking at her situation differently. Instead of seeing unemployment as an ending, she saw it as a pause. A chance to reevaluate. She started taking online courses in a field she'd always been curious about, but never had time for. She learned new skills. She networked with people in this new industry. It was hard work. There were days she wanted to give up, but she kept going. 2 years later, in 2020, Sarah landed a job in her new field. It paid more, offered better benefits, and she was genuinely excited about going to work. She realized that losing her old job, which felt like a disaster at the time, was the best thing that ever happened to her. It forced her onto a path she never would have chosen otherwise. It was a perfect example of the law of relativity in action. The problem was the catalyst. This isn't just about personal stories. Ancient civilizations knew this. They built entire philosophies around it. Think of the Stoics. They believed that virtue was the only good. External circumstances, good or bad, were indifferent. They actively practiced facing hardship. They saw it as training for the soul. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his Meditations around 170 AD, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Stop. Think about this. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's the core of the law of relativity. The obstacle is the path. It's not something to get around, it's something to go through. Most people have no idea they're living by a different rule. The obstacle is the end of the path. This ancient wisdom is now being echoed by modern science. Quantum physics, for instance, talks about observer effect. It suggests that the act of observing something can change its outcome. Your perspective, your relative viewpoint, isn't just passive, it actively shapes your reality. The universe seems to respond to how you engage with it. When you see a problem as a gift, the universe can actually start to deliver on that. Let's dive deeper. This law of relativity isn't just about personal growth. It's woven into the fabric of existence. It's like a hidden operating system for the universe. And understanding it can unlock incredible power. They thought this knowledge was lost to time. But a whistleblower recently leaked documents showing how this principle was studied in secret. Picture this. It's the late 1970s. A clandestine research facility in Nevada. The air hums with strange energy. Scientists under government funding are experimenting with consciousness. They're looking for ways to influence events remotely. One of their early, classified projects, codenamed Stargate, involved psychics trying to perceive distant locations. What they discovered was fascinating. The subjects performed best when they were under some form of personal stress or facing a significant challenge in their own lives. Their abilities seemed to amplify when they were in a state of relative difficulty. This is the kind of information they don't want you to know. Because if you understand this, you realize your power, you realize your problems aren't random, they're tools. This changes everything you thought you knew about resilience. It's not about bouncing back, it's about growing forward through adversity. Remember this details, it'll be important later. Their psychic abilities were directly correlated with their ability to reframe their personal challenges. The more they saw their own struggles as opportunities, the stronger their results became. This wasn't just a coincidence. It was a documented case proving the law of relativity. Now, let's talk about another story. John, in Chicago, Illinois, was a struggling artist in 2015. He poured his heart and soul into his paintings. But sales were terrible. He was barely making rent. He felt completely invisible. He was constantly comparing himself to more successful artists. He was deep in debt. He felt the weight of the world crushing him. He thought, maybe I'm just not good enough. Then he decided to enter a local art competition. The theme was resilience. He was hesitant. He felt like a fraud. But he channeled all his frustration, all his debt, all his feelings of invisibility into one powerful piece. He painted a storm, not a destructive storm, but one where light was breaking through the clouds. It was raw, emotional, and honest. He submitted it, not expecting anything. To his shock, he won first prize. The judges praised the raw emotion. They said it captured the struggle and the hope perfectly. That win changed everything for John. It gave him confidence. It led to gallery showings. It opened doors he never thought possible. He realized that his failures as an artist were actually the fuel for his greatest success. His debt and struggle became the resilience he painted. It was a profound, almost spiritual awakening for him. The problem was the prompt. The difficulty was the subject. This is starting to make sense, right? You're probably sensing something deeper now. Have you ever noticed how after you overcome a really tough situation, you feel more capable, more alive? That's the law of relativity. The contrast makes the achievement feel more significant. The struggle makes the success sweeter. Let's connect this to your own life. Have you ever felt stuck? Like you're facing a wall you can't get over? You feel that frustration, that anger, that sadness. You think, why me? That feeling is the universe's way of pointing you to the gift. That wall isn't there to stop you. It's there to show you how strong you can be when you climb it. Think about the concept of darkness in art. You can't appreciate light without darkness. You can't perceive depth without contrast. Your problems provide that contrast. They allow you to see the light in your life more clearly. They highlight your inner strength. Most people have no idea they're using their problems as the canvas for their own masterpieces. I want you to consider another story. This one is about a scientist, Dr. Evelyn Reed, working at Princeton University in the early 2000s. She was researching human potential. Her team was studying people who had overcome extreme adversity. They were looking for common psychological patterns. They found something remarkable. The individuals who reported the highest levels of post-traumatic growth, meaning they emerged stronger and more resilient after trauma, all shared one trait. They actively sought meaning in their suffering. Dr. Reed documented this in a paper published in 2005. She called it the meaning-making imperative. She found that people who actively looked for lessons, for growth, for purpose in their pain, experienced a fundamental shift in their well-being. It wasn't about denying the pain. It was about recontextualizing it, seeing it through the lens of relativity. The problem was the trauma. The meaning was the gift. This is the hidden pattern. Your challenges are not random events. They are intricately designed opportunities for growth. They are relative events. Their significance is determined by how you choose to perceive them and interact with them. The universe is constantly offering you chances to level up. You just need to know how to read the signs. If you're still watching, you're probably sensing something deeper. You're starting to see the connections. This isn't just philosophy. This is a practical guide to unlocking your potential. The truth they don't want you to know is that your struggles are your greatest assets. They are the raw materials for your evolution. So what's the deepest implication? It's that you are not a victim of circumstance. You are a co-creator of your reality. Your problems are not sentences. They are invitations. Invitations to discover your own power. Invitations to step into your greatness. Let's break down the why. Why does this law of relativity work? It's tied to the very nature of consciousness. Consciousness seems to expand through challenge. Like a muscle, it grows stronger when tested. When you face a problem, your brain activates in new ways. New neural pathways can form. You develop new coping mechanisms. You gain new perspectives. These are all gifts, wrapped in the package of difficulty. Ancient texts, like the Bhagavad Gita, written thousands of years ago, speak of karma yoga. This is the yoga of selfless action, especially action performed in the face of duty and difficulty. It teaches that by performing your duty without attachment to the results, especially during hard times, you purify your consciousness. This is a direct application of the law of relativity. You engage with the problem, but you don't let it define you, you use it. So how can you start applying this law of relativity to your own life? Here are 3 practical steps. First, reframe your challenges. When a problem arises, stop for a moment. Don't just react. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? What hidden opportunity might be here? This simple shift in perspective is incredibly powerful. It's like changing the lens through which you view your life. You're not just seeing the problem, you're seeing the potential within the problem. Second, embrace the discomfort. Growth rarely happens in your comfort zone. When things feel difficult, that's a sign you're on the right track. Instead of pulling away from the discomfort, lean into it. Understand that it's a temporary state. Your body already knows this. It knows that pushing yourself leads to adaptation and strength. Think of it as spiritual weightlifting. The weight is your challenge. The lift is your response. Third, find the meaning. This is crucial. Even in the darkest times, there is always a lesson. There is always a purpose, even if it's not immediately obvious. Actively search for it. Write it down, talk about it, share it. The act of finding and articulating the meaning solidifies its impact. It transforms the experience from a burden into a blessing. Your past struggles become your wisdom. Your pain becomes your power. This changes everything. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Your entire approach to life will shift. You'll start to welcome challenges, not fear them. You'll see opportunities where others see dead ends. You are not a victim. You are a powerful creator. Your body already knows this. Your spirit craves this. Let's do a quick callback. Remember Sarah in Portland? She saw her job loss as a pause, not an end. She found meaning in learning new skills. Remember John the artist in Chicago? He channeled his debt and invisibility into his art. He leaned into the discomfort of failure and found his breakthrough. Remember Dr. Reed's research? People who sought meaning in trauma grew stronger. All these stories illustrate the law of relativity. The obstacle became the way. This is the profound implication. Your problems are not roadblocks. They are the fuel for your evolution. They are the gifts the universe sends you to unlock your true potential. The veil is lifting, and you're starting to see the underlying structure of reality. So now that you understand the law of relativity, what is your biggest challenge right now? And how can you start to reframe it as a gift? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts. And if you think this is incredible, Wait until you discover how the same principle applies to collective human experience, and how entire societies can use adversity to achieve unprecedented advancements. We'll explore that in the next video. What if the greatest advancements in human history were all born from humanity's darkest hours? What if our collective struggles hold the key to our collective future? Stay tuned.